Hello guys, welcome to Andrea TV KE, and we are coming to you live from Koenmosa village, that's in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County. And today I'm glad to host a graduate in agribusiness, and he's going to share with us more about his profession and his journey in this country that we see agriculture is one of the best, or is one of the things that boost the economy currently. So brother, karibu sana.
Asante.
Yeah, and welcome to Andrea TV.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, first and foremost, before we begin, receive greetings from Arnold from Egerton University.
Well received. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so maybe to begin with, who is Jeremiah? Tell us more about you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Arnold. Thank you so much, Andrea, for the invitation.
Yeah.
I listened to the opening of the launch of this particular TV show, and I'm so excited about what you envisage to do throughout the course of this activity.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is Jeremiah Rogito, famously known as Rogito is the most popular one. I was born in Trans Nzoia, Kitale, which is a rich agricultural background. A lot of maize farming activity takes place there.
Yeah.
I studied in Kitale a bit and went to do Bachelor of Science in Agriculture in Egerton University. Yeah. And I think that's why I received greetings from Arnold.
Yeah, he's my friend.
Yeah. Beyond that, I have undertaken a Master of Management in Agribusiness from the Strathmore University Business School. So I think professionally, those are my two core competencies in terms of academic qualification. Yeah. In terms of professionally?
Yeah, actually that can be just to begin with. The rest will know as we continue. So make us understand what business is all about. What is it that is done in it?
Yeah, absolutely. So agribusiness, the most prominent one is usually agriculture, and most of people know it in terms of farming. But I think agribusiness goes beyond than the traditional just growing of crops or the keeping of livestock, or whether it's fisheries. So agribusiness goes to look at the business component of it, how people are able to make money through this particular venture. So it's the growing of crops and keeping of livestock, but not losing sight of the business component. Such a result, as you work on this particular livestock or crops, you focus mainly on the business in terms of how you're able to get money from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like you do farming, but with the aim of making a profit.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so maybe when people grow up, like personally, when I was young, I wanted to be something else that I am today. Was being an agriculturalist your initial dream?
Yeah, I know some people who I grew up together with might be watching this video. Yeah. And so perhaps they might have heard of me talking about being a mathematics professor at some point. Yeah. But I realized the professor in mathematics is not a career actually.
What is it then?
That's what I was told by my dad. I don't know if it's true. Yeah, but from a very young age, I think I developed a lot of interest in issues of farming and agribusiness. Yeah, so I can't say that I've deviated so much from what I intended to do while growing up.
So you had a passion in agriculture even from?
Absolutely. I remember in high school even serving as the Young Farmers Association organizing secretary. Around that year we did so many initiatives. I remember in fact my school then hosted the National Tree Planting, which is one of the 4 key activities that Young Farmers undertakes.
Maybe you can mention the schools that recognize the institution then.
Yeah, absolutely. I went to the St. Joseph Boys High School in Kitale. Then it used to be, in terms of numbers, the biggest school in Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's this question. People do say that after all they have learned, where will they get employed? Then I ask, is agribusiness a solution to unemployment, or can it be a solution to unemployment in Kenya?
Absolutely. That, I think I might say, is one of my favorite questions. Yeah. I mean, there are so many opportunities in agribusiness.
Share with the people, at least take your time, share with the people so that they can get to know what agribusiness is.
Absolutely. Yeah, so when you look specifically in the agricultural value chain, we now refer it more as a value chain that encompasses access to inputs, whether you are growing or keeping of livestock, that looks at how do you get fertilizer, how do you get seed. Then it goes into how you actually grow it, those who are crop producers or those who keep livestock. Then across the value chain as well, there are so many opportunities all the way to marketing. So it can really be used as a tool to be able to solve the big challenge of unemployment, especially for the young people in Kenya. As a matter of fact, by the way, my master dissertation focused on issues of youth and agribusiness in Kenya, particularly in Western Kenya. And I mean, there are immense opportunities. If you look in terms of production, there are so many crops you can grow. There are so many livestock you can keep, or whether it's fishery, you can also, there's a lot of opportunities in terms of production, in terms of marketing, in terms of input supply, in terms of distribution. I mean, the list is endless. We can talk until until tomorrow, perhaps the week after.
So you said there's the livestock part of it, and there's the crops. So which one is your favorite, or do you do both?
I must say I'm more of a crop producer. I prefer the crop specifically. And I can disclose, by the way, I really struggle with my animal science and livestock units in campus. I don't know, it's because of my liking or something, but crops has always been my favorite, whether it's professionally, also as a farmer. Yeah.
So maybe somebody will be inspired today from this interview. Maybe he'll be wanting to start agriculture, I mean. So what do you need to start farming? Like, what did you have so that you can become an agriculturalist or a farmer?
At least you need basic knowledge, and I think in my papers, one of the things that I focused a lot is in terms of issues of access to information, because information is very important for any venture. If you do not have information, you can be easily conned or lied to. Beyond that, I think depending on which venture you want to venture into, whether it's aquaculture, whether it's livestock production, whether it's crop production, each of it has specific needs that you require to be able to get into that venture. And I think there are some, especially if you're focusing on the young people, I think there are other ventures that, because young people struggle with issues of access to land. So there are ventures which you can be able to undertake that requires very limited space. So depending on which venture you want to get into, really, that my answer will be, that will dictate what resources you then require. But there are ventures that you can start with even as low as 5,000, while others that require a lot of money for you to be able to get into.
And now for somebody who has got limited land, and there are those who stay in the urban setup, then they're really into agriculture, but then they cannot get the land. What do you suggest for such?
Access to land is a big challenge, especially for young farmers, because in most communities, the land can only be passed over to the next generation after the elderly person is about to die or is actually dead. So a lot of young people struggle with issues of access to land. In fact, one of my biggest motivation to get into the agri space is a friend of mine that we studied together in high school. Inspired of the great initiatives that we did while working with the Young Farmers Association, he went home and asked his dad to actually give him some bit of land to be able to get into agribusiness. The father thought that he's wishing him to die, because in many African communities, for land to be passed over to the next generation, then the elderly person must have died. So he didn't get the land, and that is one of my biggest motivation. In fact, one of my biggest inspiration when I was looking at the issues of access to land, especially for young people. Your question specifically is you do not have land, but you want to.
You really want to do farming.
But you really want to do farming. In the recent past, there are ventures that have been being promoted greatly. Issues like mushroom farming, which requires really limited space, and there are so many ventures. Issues like rabbit keeping that requires just a small space for you to be able to get into that venture, and like maize production, which requires you to have quarter an acre or even acres of land to you to be having a commercial entity for production. So in my view, I think there are ventures which young people can be able to look into, especially those who do not have land.
Okay. So if you have limited land, you can go for those that don't require land. Like mushroom keeping, you said it only requires just approximately help somebody.
Absolutely. And I think there are great innovations that are coming into play also, that people can be able to grow without soilless media. The issues of like hydroponics, which vertical farming, which is being greatly promoted, which is considering less use of land, but utilizing land upwards, especially for vertical farming, which are areas which I think young people can be able to tap into. Actually, here in Kenmosa, one I'm doing here really is on issues of vegetable production. And vegetable production, you may require a large space of land if you want to plant it on soil, But also if you consider vertical farming, within a very small space, you can be able to have so many vegetables that can reap you some good amount of money. Yeah.
So ever seen, this social media, that kasak, there's some soil, then that's got holes around it.
Absolutely.
And that's what we call the vertical.
That is what we call vertical farming. And it's in areas like, Vihiga is one of the smallest counties that we have in Kenya, and is one of the areas that we're working at the moment. One of the things that we're really promoting there is the issues of vertical farming, because there is a limited space. So with that small a piece of bag, some hold up to 200 plants. Yeah, and with 200 plants, I mean, that's that's huge. It's kind of able to feed a number of families.
Okay. Yeah. And then, are there other people whom you teach? Do you offer training to some people, like?
Yeah, absolutely. At SNV, what we do mainly is capacity building of farmers. And myself, tied to the project that we're calling Veggies for Planet and People, is to build the capacity of farmers, and specifically we are targeting young people and women to engage in this particular venture of vegetable production. Yeah, and so I must say the biggest component of my role here really is to work out the capacity building initiatives, organizing activities such as field days, farmer exchange visits, and all those learning cycles activities that can be able to then stimulate the activities that farmers participate on farm. Yeah.
So how do you access these people that you train, or how can someone access the trainings that you offer?
Yeah, I think even apart from SNV itself, there are so many organizations that are heavily involved on issues of capacity building of farmers. So and as I mentioned earlier, issue of access to information is very important. So when you get into the net, I think you'll see so many organizations, others specific to specific crops, others in specific production systems, because we have so many production systems in agri. I mean, we promote regenerative agriculture, but there are those that promote issues like conventional farming. So when you get to the internet, I think there's a wide resources of organizations and also information that can help you in your farming venture.
Okay. So as an agriculturalist, maybe do you personally go to farm, or you just have what employees who work for you? Because I see you is like working a very in an office, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I struggle to choose an outfit for this particular interview, whether it should be a gumboot or a t-shirt or it should be a suit. But I personally enjoy farming. I could say it's one of my leisure activities. Almost every single Sunday I spend my time on the farm. And it's fulfilling. It helps you to build your muscles. And I think for me, I must say it's one of my favorite tasks. And even if you have employees working on your farm, it's important for you to understand some very important concepts. I think you need to know how much you can push someone in terms of labor, how much they can be able to do. So sometimes what I do mainly myself is, before I give them a task, whether it's nursery preparation, I actually do it myself. So they learn by what I've already done. And from that, I can also be able to estimate how much this particular employee can be able to take to complete a task. So it helps me also in my calculation of wage rate per day.
So that you don't underpay or you don't overpay them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good move. Some people, once they have got employees, then that's all.
Yeah.
They don't. And I see some people also do what we call online farming. Yeah. Is there something like online farming?
I don't know what's your understanding of online farming.
Like somebody's in Nairobi, yes, but he also got farms.
Oh, okay.
In Vihiga.
Yeah.
Eldoret.
Yeah. Yeah, the most conventional term used there is telephone farming.
Telephone farming. Thank
you. So that you are seated somewhere and you directing things on farm. Most of the times, in my own opinion, I could be right or wrong, but in my opinion, I think that doesn't work so well, because especially if you have very unfaithful employees on farm. So if you need really to have very faithful people, and for you to be able to get into that particular venture. But I think over and beyond the telephone farming, you should have some time to regularly check and see what your employees are doing on the farm for it to be a successful venture. Yeah.
So you must avail yourself personally to the farm.
Absolutely.
And everything that somebody does maybe has got a challenge. What are some of the serious challenges that you face in the field of agriculture? Maybe in terms of government support, environment, and so on.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many challenges, and I usually say there are so many risks. Yeah, even as how we are seated here, it's a risk. Yeah, even the cameras, the way it's held, it can fall anytime, and this interview comes to an end.
Okay.
So you don't stop filming because of risks or challenges that may come your way.
Yeah.
Specifically about challenges, one of the biggest challenges that farmers face is the unpredictable weather patterns, especially in the recent past. You can see, especially this moment we are talking about, right here in Uasin Gishu, we've been anticipating rainfall for quite some time, which has not been forthcoming. Yeah. So the change in climatic patterns is really affecting the farming systems of our farmers across the country, and I think also globally. Other than that, I think there are so many challenges that you can face.
Inputs.
Yeah, some of the access to inputs is a big challenge, and we are appreciative that some organizations are getting into this activity of supporting input supply across the country. Issues of markets, so many farmers decry the issue of market as a big challenge. And I always say that marketing is the scoring of a goal. If you are playing soccer, the scoring of a goal in agriculture could be related with the access of markets, because it doesn't matter how much you've planted your crops and they are so green and flourishing. Yeah. If you at the end of it all are not selling, then you're not in business. Yeah. So some of the challenges that farmers face, as you rightly mentioned, one of them is marketing. Yeah.
So like who should do the marketing? Is it the government or you individual as the farmer?
Yeah, issues of market can be tackled from various angles. But as we always say, that the beginning point should always be on the market. Even before the farmer plants, he should be able to know he's going to sell his produce ultimately. Yeah, but a lot of government initiatives and a lot of organizations are getting into supporting farmers in terms of their access to market. Yeah.
Okay, and maybe there's a youth seated right now who is interested in agriculture. Just advise him or her what to start with or how he can start. You had mentioned it earlier, but now this is just specifically to the youth or somebody who wants to begin.
Yeah, I always say that I chose what we call the 4 Ds to agricultural success. And I always say these Ds represent the Ds I got in campus, so that anything that is bad does not become bad forever, becomes a positive thing. Number 1 is that they should be able to dream big and able to trust that they can be able to deliver it. Number 2, they should be able to diversify, so that you are not in just one particular venture, you are looking on various ventures. If one fails, one can be able to support the other. Number 3 is to be able to, divinity, I say that is the ultimate source of everything, that God is the giver of everything, that we should be able to trust and believe in God at all times. Yeah. Number 4 I've forgotten, I'll remember sometime later and share with you.
Okay. So let's say perhaps today you are given a chance to shift to a given profession. Which profession would you choose?
I mean, I can't change.
You cannot change.
I'm comfortable with the space I'm in. I mean, even Kenya itself, the president has chosen one of the big 4 agenda that is looking into is agriculture. So changing, I have no intentions to change. Okay. Yeah, I'm comfortable in the agri space.
And so, as you earlier mentioned that farming is one of the things you enjoy, what other things do you do for leisure?
Yeah, I think as a Christian, I go to church. I don't know if that is leisure, but beyond that, I enjoy soccer. Over and beyond soccer, I also enjoy playing FIFA. Yeah, so I think that's what I spend most of my time in free time.
Okay, and then there's this question. Maybe if your children in future will take exactly after you, would you be a happy father?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for wishing me well that I will have children in future.
Welcome.
It's indeed a blessing. Over and beyond that, I think it's important I mention at this point that my parents themselves were farmers. They studied agri in university level. So personally, I took over. I think I can say I took over from them. I see the joy they have in me in that particular space. I think I'll have a similar joy as well to see my offspring also taking over from this space. Because ultimately, people must eat at all times.
Actually.
Yeah, people must eat at all times. Even the one standing behind the camera must eat after this. Everybody. Yeah, so it's a space that we need to be now and forever.
No, I was looking at it in this angle, like when you look at your conduct since childhood, if your children resemble the same way the conduct you had from childhood, are you going to have a hard time with them, or you'll just be a happy father throughout?
That's a difficult question. I think I'll take it once they come on board, and the way they behave, I'll take it as such. But I think it's much easier to when you have people thinking in a similar way, it's easier to manage them, in my own view. Yeah, so I doubt if it will be a challenge when it gets to that.
Okay.
But as I mentioned, I think I'll take it as it comes.
Yes, correct. And so, guys, we have come to the end of our interview today, as I was hosting my brother Jeremiah Rogito, a graduate from Egerton University in agribusiness, right? Yeah, and it was a pleasure having you. So, brother, before we just leave, kindly invite people, tell them about Andrea TV Kenya, and invite them to subscribe to our channel so that we might grow bigger and bigger.
Absolutely. Thank you so much first for hosting me. It's indeed a pleasure to be hosted in this online TV.
You're welcome.
We encourage you to subscribe, to share these videos. And I'm excited because this TV was started to be able to share information. So by subscribing and by sharing, by liking these videos, you are able to motivate others and able to have a greater reach. So I invite you to actively participate in this online TV. Thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you for your time. Until next time.
Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best.